Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Heat Army podcast. As you can see, we've got a substitute, or maybe a better replacement. Yes, I can say that. But Mark Rovers has jumped in the co-pilot seat tonight. Hello there, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Unexpected late call-up. Playing the Ben White of the England Euro 2020 squad here on a last-minute call-up and all that. Just thought I'd do a job.
At the park, though. We've got a lot to talk about, and we've got two guests coming on. We've got Adam Campbell joining us and Adam Cameron, yet another academy prospect signed full-time contract at Gateshead, which is a fantastic thing. We're going to have 4 players as it stands. I don't know if there's any more that's possibly on the short list for getting a contract, but have 4 academy players with full-time contracts at the club is nothing short of miraculous, especially in the time period that things really got rolling in recent years. With that, also as well, there is the PLAW Evening Awards hosted by yours truly there. Well, not me, I mean by yours truly, Mark Rovers. So that's on the 25th of June. Tickets still available. Go to the Gateshead FC website, and that should be a fantastic night, Mark, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I'll apologise in advance for my dulcet tones probably ruining it, but there's disco on and stuff afterwards. But no, I think it's been an unusual season, hasn't it? And there's still a lot of success at the club. We look at the league title wins we've seen from the ladies team, and a brilliant first season for them, getting to the semi-final of a cup competition as well. And a couple of the college sides we've seen this week have had success as well. So still plenty to celebrate. And in the first team, to be fair, in the limited season they had showed a lot of promising signs as well.
It's an opportunity for fans to meet some of the newer players that maybe haven't even played in front of a crowd since signing for Gateshead. So that'll be a good thing. And also, as you mentioned, the ladies team, their last game, they potentially finished the season undefeated with a trophy and a semi-final appearance. So what a season they had.
Yeah, a lot of hard work's gone into setting that team up, and you look at the season they've had. I think if they win on Sunday, the season's finished undefeated, which is in the league anyway, which is brilliant. Good challenges lie ahead in the next level up in the women's football pyramid. So it's been a great first year. I don't think we knew, and by we I mean the sort of royal we, that what to expect from the women's team this year, the ladies team. But they've certainly shone. Obviously, we'll not give too much credit to her, but certain strikers done fairly well. So it'll be good for their success.
And we've got a message. Honors put evening, lads. Rick Hilton's put evening, lads. How are you? Very well. Thank you for joining us. Mason Ford, he's put evening, lads. Hope you're well. Thank you very much. You can do as they have done. You can message us either on Facebook, Twitter, or on YouTube if you're watching us on there. And remember, while you're watching, give us a quick share so we can reach as many Gateshead fans as possible, because there's lots to talk about. And if you're just joining us, we're going to be joined by Gateshead striker Adam Campbell, who will be in his second spell at the club, returning to full-time football. So lots to talk about with him. And we're going to be talking to the new goalkeeper from the academy, Adam Cameron, who signed full-time terms this season as well. So it's very, very exciting and everything we're going to be doing. And I've got a naughty little girl that isn't going to bed knocking on the door. Just before we get Adam joining us later on, Mark, you've had some fantastic articles out lately. There's been a glut of them in the past week. Obviously, we're going to be speaking to Adam. You did a great article with him. We can speak about more things with that other on. But also as well today, you put one out there with Alicia, who a very brave article. And as I say, we know that you've been an advocate for mental health and Sheriff Care Foundation. We've had you on to talk about that in the time. I just want to be honest, just to say well done to yourself, but also to Alicia as well, because it's a brave thing to come out and talk about it.
All the credit has to go to Alicia, to be fair. I mean, she's the one that asked me to do the article. She's the one who opened up so much about, as she said, the hardest 9 months of her life. Fair play to her for being so open, so honest. It's a brave move to do in modern society, and we talk about the sort of things that go on social media, but she's come out there and really put her story out and what's happened. Yeah. And also, I'm saying credit to Alicia, credit to the club as well, because in the piece there are several people at the club who are identified as kind of pillars of support. And it was an honour to do the piece. It was an honour to be asked to do it. And as I say, a fair play to Alicia. It is available on the Sunderland Echo website if anyone wants to read. And I should say there are also several points of contact on there for if anyone is struggling during these times.
Yeah, definitely. Retweeted that. Please do have a look. Also, as well, a lovely little piece from former Gateshead striker, putting up bigging up the new striker in Kedwin, Scott. I've said that right. I've been saying Sedwin for months. I've been put right, so it's Kedwin, and hopefully we're going to have him on next month. But a nice feel good article there, bigging up the new man at the club from a legendary goal scorer.
Yeah, Graham Armstrong obviously played alongside Kedwin at Heaven Town, and Kedwin actually was playing sort of wide left or left side of a front three when Graham was playing his traditional number 9 role. But Graham picked up a knock, missed a few games, and that was when Kedwin moved in to the number 9 spot and sort of went on this unbelievable run of goal scoring. So yeah, just contacted Graham, get a few words with him to see what he thought Kedwin would bring to Gateshead after signing this summer. I'll not tell you what he said. You'll have to go and read the article, but needless to say, he was full of praise. I think that one's on the Shield Gazette website. So he thinks he'll be an asset. That's a simple fact. And I think anyone that has seen Kedwin play over the last couple of years will know exactly what he'll bring to Gateshead. He is someone who can play in a number of positions. I prefer him as a 9, but let's be honest, there's a lot of competition there in this current squad.
There certainly is. We were talking before we came on there just about what kind of formation does the club go with. We know that in recent seasons, the back 5 with the 3 centre backs and 2 wing backs has been a very popular formation with the management. It's been productive as well, attacking as well as defensive. And we just look a little bit further forward in the team. What midfield 2 or centre do you pick? What 2 or 3 do you pick up front out of the abundance of attacking players that Gateshead has? It's a lovely headache to have.
Well, this is the thing as a manager. You don't want to be able to go, that's my 11. But you want to have to sit there and think, well, if I do this, this will be good. You need options. And it's going to be a long season this year. It's going to be our first full season for 2 years now. So the squad will be needed. We mentioned the academy players. They're going to have to play their part as well, even if it is in the Durham Challenge Cup or the FA Trophy, or filling up the bench on FA Cup games, so that everyone's going to have a role to play next season or this season. Do we call it this season? Call it this season. Everyone's got a role to play this season, and that's why I think it'll be good for Mike and Busted and Belly to sit down and have to debate the starting lineup instead of just saying that's our starting lineup every week.
Yeah.
You look at the front 4. I mean, there's a lot of goals in those 4. Paul Blackett, still haven't seen the best of him at Gateshead. He's been out on loan and impressed at Whitby Town and Blythe Spartans. You look at Macaulay Langstaff. He showed in key moments last season what he can do. And then the 2 new lads coming in, Campbell and Kedwin Scott. There's certainly goals in that 4.
And not forget Nelson as well. He's wanting to prove himself. He's got the full-time contract. He'll be wanting to, put his name in the hat for starting as well. So it is going to be a very exciting up front as well, all throughout the team. And see, seems like we're advertising all your articles here, Mark, but we'd normally go to them anyway. Obviously, Mike Williamson still wants to make some additions to the club. And we've said this for ever since Mike come in, that he doesn't just go for the players on reputation of how they play, but he wants the mentality of how they operate as well to fit into the squad. And I think that shows in the character of the young players that we spoke to so far who have turned professional with the club. When we spoke to Ryan Bolton the other week, a very passionate, excitable young man, but you could tell his head was on his shoulders.
Well, whether it's a young player coming through the club system through the academy, or whether it's a player coming in externally, the one thing Mike and Busted have done is they've brought in the right characters, and that's why Gateshead have got such a strong dressing room. It is a tight-knit unit. Some of that, let's be honest, has been forged in, and I know we don't like going back to it, but was forged in what happened 2 years ago, and what nearly happened to the club. But that sort of togetherness, and I don't just mean the dressing room here, I mean the club as a whole, including the supporters, that will be a big part of what will attract people to the club. They know that it is a tight-knit group, it is a tight-knit club. I think Adam Campbell said it in that piece, that gets a family feel for the club. And that's something I sense when I'm over there. You can sense everyone enjoys being around each other. Um, they enjoy being sort of in that dressing room, having the terrible word, but having the banter going and all that. They look as if they enjoy being friends and teammates, which is great. So yes, there are still players will come in. The squad isn't complete yet. They are working hard to do that. There are positions still to be filled, some key positions, but there's a lot of hard work. But by the same token, there's not as much work as there has been in the last two pre-seasons. They're in a good place. The foundations are in place. It's just really adding the right characters in the right places.
It certainly is. Well, characters who you from the QE. He's up there at the minute because his daughter has had to go up the walk-in centre. We hope that she's on the mend and nothing too bad. Looking better, lads, without the other geezer. Well, that goes without saying, really, doesn't it? But
it's just a good filter. That's all it is.
It is. And also as well, we've got a message from Charles Wharf. He's put, "Hi boys, shut a finger at the ready. Gated Ladies Cup game. It was a good game to watch. I was pleasantly surprised by the high standard. Bring on Sunday." And of course, we'll talk about that a bit later on. We're just waiting for Adam Campbell to join us momentarily. He said he'd be on just after about 10 past. Oh, that's when I told him to come on when I sent him the link. But while we're just here at the moment, we're going to play a message from our sponsors, and we'd like you to give their social media a little follow. As ever, we always like to thank Northern Print Solutions, because without their help, we wouldn't be able to stream this way on Facebook, all social media, but through the medium of StreamYard, which helps us do a lot of things that we weren't able to do in the past. So, as I say, always thankful to them. And right, we've got a few messages here, but what's that? Dave, your sound is at your sound is at times a bit strange. I think that might be when Mark's talking, we've got a little bit of a crackle. It's just one of those things, the technology side.
Charles, that is just how he sounds, we should say. That's just his voice.
Across between Donald Duck and I don't know, someone else. But we are joined. Unfortunately, normally when I have a guest lined up, I'll have their goals or highlights lined up, and my son was ill today, so I haven't got Adam's goals lined up here, but he is here to join us. And we'd like to say hello there, Adam. How are you doing?
Hiya, boys. Sorry I'm a bit late.
It's all right. We'll forgive you. As long as you're not late in the box.
Try and get it out of the way now instead.
Yeah. Welcome back to the club. You must be thrilled, obviously, to be back on Tyneside, but also back in full-time football.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, this is something that I've been sort of humming and hawing with for years, to be honest. When I first signed at Darlington, although it's a big club and stuff, it was one of those things was, do I want to go part-time? Do I want to stay full-time? At that stage of my sort of life rather than career, I was thinking about things away from football. But now I've really got that love for the game back. I've got the hunger back again. I'm really desperate to sort of do well and kick on. And I think just now is the right time to move back into full-time football. And obviously, once Mike had sort of got in touch and said that he was still interested, it's a no-brainer to come back home and like I say, be at a big club that's going to be hopefully pushing in the right direction.
That's what I say. You got a lovely reaction on social media when, obviously, because you had your loan stint, about 6 years ago. But it must have been, quite morale boosting when you seen the outpouring of affection from the Gated fans when it was announced that you had returned.
Definitely, I think obviously everyone likes to know that that's sort of wanted and that people are happy with the signing. So, like you say, we're seeing sort of the welcome that I got and all the positivity surrounding that. It's just a massive confidence boost, and I don't know if the fans actually realise how much of a boost it does give players. I'd like to think of myself as an experienced player now, being sort of in the game for 9 or 10 years, and even it gives me a right big smile on my face, and it really does perk you up. So obviously, I've been looking at the other signings that we've made and younger players getting contracts and things like that. And I would just reiterate about how important it is for these players to sort of be knowing that they're wanted and knowing that they've got a platform. And obviously we all know Gateshead, we know what the fans are like, and they want to pick you up, and they want you to do well, always want you to succeed. But obviously these young lads coming through, it's a massive sort of step up for them. It's a massive chance for them to prove themselves. And I think knowing that the fans have got their back in the way they have, it will be massive for them going forward.
As you can see on the bottom of the screen now, we've got some messages there. Welcome back to Gateshead from Lewis Wilkinson. Got one here from Craig. He's put, all right, Adam, mate, up the Heat Army. A question from Mason Ford. He's put a question for Adam. What was it like playing Newcastle first team with the likes of Cissé, the gaffer himself, and them French players that the club had at the time?
Yeah, obviously it's massive. You know, like I say, I think anyone who's, like you say, from like the northeast and from sort of my neck of the woods, Wallsend, everyone wants to play for Newcastle as a kid growing up, and it's something that obviously gets asked of me quite a lot. And it's one of those things that no matter what happens in my life or my career, nobody can take away from sort of I've lived my dream. Do you know what I mean? And that's not in that sense. But yeah, obviously, it's a lot different to what it is when you're in the National League North. Obviously, you don't get many foreign players. So going into sort of, like you say, even from the youth team, it was always sort of Geordie lads or Irish lads or so in the youth team, and then you move up, and if the people aren't French, they're French speaking. So it was like a whole different, like going into a whole different world. But it was brilliant. Obviously, like you say, you learn how to sort of speak to different personalities and understand how people sort of operate and think at the top end of the game. And like you say, learning from people like Cissé and things like that, you can't really overestimate watching him in training and the movements he's doing and the drills he's doing away from sort of the team training. And like you say, you just take that with you as you move forward.
Yeah, and to say that obviously being back on Tyneside and back playing close to home must be a real positive. But what was the positives that you seen or were told when you were speaking to Mike and Busted before you put the pen to paper? Because obviously there's a lot of things going on around the club at the moment. Was that whole picture told to you, or was it more about the playing aspect?
No, I think they were quite open and sort of explained their plans and sort of said what they would expect from me and asked me what I would sort of expect from them or from my time at the club and things like that. So it was anyone who knows me or knows of me knows that I'm a real open book. So if you ask me a question, I'll give you as honest of an answer as I can. So I just said, look, I want to be playing preferably centrally, but it doesn't really that side of it doesn't matter too much as long as I'm back playing games. There's going to be a team sort of built around sort of high energy pressing from the front, possession based. And as I was saying it, they were nodding, and then things that they were saying, like you say, sort of the people that they were looking to bring in and the style of play that they're going to play, and then I'm nodding along to what they're saying, and it was just kind of one of those moments where you just think, well, everyone's on the same page here. So regardless of anything else, if the football side of it's right, the rest of it will take care of itself. So yeah, like I say, I don't really get involved too much in other things, but my sort of sole focus is the football side of things, and everything sort of was ticking all the boxes for both sides when we were speaking. So yeah, it was pretty much a no-brainer, to be honest.
Fantastic. Mark, have you got any questions there? I don't want to hog it all.
Well, I think I asked them enough questions the other week when I sat with them for half an hour. I have got one from an individual at the club that will go unnamed, though. I just had a text from someone asking what your cat's called.
Lenny, here he is.
The first cat on the podcast.
do you know out of everything in that piece, that's the thing I've been asked most about your cat.
People would be sick of me talking about him. It's all I ever go on about.
That's good. Right, there we go. That's question answered. Unnamed individual.
Yeah. Obviously, you mentioned about when you're speaking to the gaffer and Busted about the footballing side. Obviously, the competition for that number 9 spot is going to be very, it's going to be hot commodity this year. There's a lot of lads that are going to be competing for it with you. Does that spur you on that little bit extra, knowing that it's not a guaranteed starting place?
Definitely, I think obviously everyone wants to play. Everyone wants to sort of to know that they're wanted and that they're gonna be playing regularly and stuff like that. But at the same time, competition for places is massive. If you just get into that sort of false sense of security almost that you're going to be playing no matter what you do, you'll struggle on a Saturday. You might be all right, sort of getting through the week and training and stuff. But when it comes to a Saturday, and when you need to be sharp and you need to be concentrating, your mind can wander. So I think it's definitely important. And I think, like I say, the lads who are up front as well, it's not as if you're sort of going to be getting rested or getting dropped for someone who doesn't deserve to be there, because the lads that we've got up front, like you say, would walk into most teams in this league, if not all. So it's it's everyone. I think everyone knows they're going to have to be at the top of their game, and like you say, that can only be a good thing for everyone.
And obviously, you're still a young lad, but you've got a lot of experience now. The first time you came to the club, obviously, you're loaned out from Newcastle. What experience did you take from that loan when you came to Gateshead the first time?
It was my first loan in sort of in the non-league as well. So it was like, again, yes, I'd been sort of at Carlisle's and Hartlepool's and stuff by this point, but this was a whole different thing again. So it was one of those, like, you're meeting people who are sort of, you really understand what it means to play for Gateshead. As daft as that sounds, the sort of group that the lads that they had there at the time, you were sort of under no illusions that if you didn't perform, you were going to be out. So yeah, it was just one of those, knowing that you sort of had to perform week in, week out. And so obviously for myself, from a personal point of view, I was back to scoring goals as well, which was important for me. Obviously, I'd had a few loans that didn't exactly go to plan, whereas the Gateshead one was probably, although the back end of my time I didn't play as much as what I would have liked. To start with, I was playing and I was scoring, and I was sort of getting that buzz back for the game again. And I think that's sort of from my memories alone. It's just that Gateshead, I only associate Gateshead with like good memories and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, say, it's quite an easy decision to come back, and say hopefully it's a successful season.
Yeah, I was just say it was always excited when you get a young prospect like yourself on loan from Newcastle, and especially when you see, because I'm not going to name any players, but we've had a few in the past that don't come with the work ethic and maybe see it as a step down. But the players like yourself, we're seeing you know, put a shift in, score your goals, got your rewards, and also as well, I think it helped you get noticed for a move into the Football League at the end of your time at Newcastle as well.
Definitely, I think that's definitely safe to say. I don't think if I had another loan where I hadn't played and hadn't scored, I would have struggled to get a league move. So it was definitely one of those that I think everyone knew I needed to be playing football. I needed to be scoring goals, and obviously Gateshead gave me that platform to do that, and I've enjoyed sort of 4.5 years in the Football League after that. So yeah, like I say, it was one of my better loan deals, that's for sure.
Yeah. And before
I've got a question.
Sorry, I'll let Mark.
I have now. You had a few former teammates in the Gateshead squad. Did you speak to them before you signed?
Only Greg, to be honest. Obviously, I think everyone knows that I know quite a few of the boys, obviously from times at Newcastle and just from playing in the area and playing against players. But no, Greg was the only one that I actually spoke to and sort of asked him how things were and sort of what his expectations. Obviously, he's been here for a few years now, so it was like, how is their expectation of fighting at the top end of the league? Like, how realistic is it? And he's like, oh, we've been up there for the last couple of years, and we should be right up there again if we get the players in that we're hoping for. So, like I say, I think everyone knows how much Greg enjoys his time here and how much he loves the club. So, yeah, he couldn't speak highly enough of it. And not that I had any doubts, but if I had, it would have been put to bed after speaking to him. So yeah, he's the only one.
When you were speaking to him?
Say again, sorry.
Did he have his Gateshead shirt on when you were speaking?
And his scarf, I think.
When he came on the podcast, he had his shirt that he scored his first goal in. Very dedicated to the goals. One last question before we let you go. Are you going to get a Gateshead strip for the cat?
Oh, that's a no-brainer. I think I'm going to have to. He's trying to get on again. Yeah.
Hello, Lenny.
He must have heard you saying his name. So yeah, he'll no doubt he'll get a Gateshead shirt. I'm sure my mum's already on the case and buying him one.
Fantastic. Well, Adam, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully we can talk to you throughout the season, and I'll not wish you all the best because I know you're gonna give it your all. So we look forward to seeing you when the season starts.
Perfect. Thanks for having me on, boys.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
There we go. Adam Campbell there. Lovely lad, and you can see he's excited about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Adam's just naturally that way anyway. He's a positive person. He's been through some tough times in his career, and he came through in Newcastle with great fanfare. It seems harsh to say for any young lad who's a Geordie that any first team appearance is living the dream. It is, that's what people grow up wanting to do. I think he made 4 or 5 appearances for the first team That to me is a success. Any Geordie lad that gets into that side, and this was a side that had your likes of Cisse and Bond, people like that. It was a good Newcastle's Ben Arthur as well.
Yeah, and expectations to have a new Geordie striker is very high, and I think when you mentioned them players that were in that Newcastle side at the time, you had to hit the ground running to get really noticed.
Adam's really honest, and that's one thing I found when I spoke to him the other week. So he was talking about his loan spells when he went to Morecambe and places like that. It didn't quite happen. I think he went to Carlisle, went to Hartlepool, and it just didn't quite happen. But he came to Gateshead, as he's just said there, and kind of found a bit of a home. And I know it's taken him a while to get back to the club, but
on that note, Mickey put this one else, but you could have saved yourself a lot by staying in the first place.
A valid point. But I think, looking at the way the club's run now, and the way that we spoke about before, the fact Adam brought that up, that it is a family feel to the club. I think it's easy to find a home there, and hopefully that sort of all in it together mentality will benefit him as a player, and obviously benefit the team on the pitch next season.
It certainly is. On where we're on about the family, you can get your tickets on the Gateshead FC website to go to the awards evening, hosted by the lovely Mark Carruthers. You'll be speaking to Mike Williamson, I'm sure a host of other people there, including people from the star players from the ladies team, the championship winning team. So if you want to get down there, £5 a ticket, and I'm sure there'll be an abundance of scratch cards, lottery tickets, and Bernard will be right in your back pocket to get that money. So it should be a lovely night, and as you say, there's a disco on as well. So get yourselves along to that. And Mark, obviously we've spoke a lot in recent months, and of course when we've done the commentary together, but you mentioned something that I was going to talk to Mickey about tonight, and it hasn't actually left me mind since you said it, and that was about that this is a season for Gateshead to look forward now, after all the things that have happened in the past.
Yeah,
it's to draw a line in the sand.
And this is something. Now, there's a number of clubs in the region that I've made this point about. Gateshead are probably the most prominent ones, where we're now going into the third season of supporter ownership, and the third season under this consortium, and it could be 3 years by the time the season finished since what happened under the previous owners. And I think one of the things I've found people around the club, from the chairman downwards, have spoken about is that's in the past now. This is new Gateshead, which it is. It's the same club effectively, but it's a new Gateshead, and we shouldn't stop. We shouldn't keep using what happened back then as a reference point.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it as well. I know I am. When I write pieces.
People listen to 20 minutes ago, 10 in a row where you couldn't speak about anything else.
Yeah, but I referenced it in the piece with Alicia today when I said, she's a popular figure on the club, was a key figure in what happened back then, and sort of saving the club. But the time, I think, has come now to stop doing that. I think the time has come to think about the future, to think about this unit that Mike and Busted are building. It's not a squad that is being rushed together as it maybe has been in the past 2 years. It's a squad that has got strong foundations and that adding genuine quality to it. I think go back a year or so, go back a year or so, you maybe wouldn't have seen Robbie Tinkler coming back, but now he's back. He's a big plus, and I think it is a case of that. What's gone on is done. This is now about where this club's going. It's on a journey. It's gone on X Factor now, but it's on a journey to becoming the club that it always should have been. And I think it's exciting times. I'm excited by looking at the squad. I think it's going to be an exciting squad to watch. The brand of football that will be played. And just to, I guess you're going to reference that question there. I think I don't know how Mike and Busted will feel about this, but when you look at favourites to win the league, you would put Gateshead right up there in the betting. I dare say the clubs that were there or thereabouts last season will be there again, because it's not as if they've weakened, but this Gateshead with the new additions will be right up there.
And of course, this is Gateshead that is looking to youth as well, and using the college academy setup, and that leads me perfectly to our next guest. He's sitting here waiting now. Adam Cameron, hello there. Welcome to the podcast.
You all right? How you doing?
Oh, fantastic! Thank you for joining us, and a massive congratulations on signing your first professional contract.
Cheers, buzzing.
Yeah, it's so we spoke to Ryan Bolton the other week, and he was obviously we couldn't shut him up.
Yeah,
lovely lad.
Class.
But as I say, you must be immensely proud, though. Being to get yourself noticed and get this opportunity to develop at Gateshead.
Yeah, definitely. Well, obviously, I joined the 19s last year, and it was my main goal, obviously, to get a pro contract with the first team. So yeah, I was absolutely buzzing when Mike and Bustard told us.
Yeah, and say if anyone that obviously not many fans got to get any games at all, but what's been your footballing journey to get to the under-19s? Have you been at any other clubs or boys clubs?
I was at Newcastle City Juniors Boys Club when I was 6 till about 9, and then I joined Newcastle United Academy from 9. Got released at 16 and joined Sunderland, and I was a scholar at Sunderland from 16 to 18, and then got released by Sunderland when I was 18, and then Matty Patterson messages about joining Gateshead, and I went to Gateshead and really enjoyed it.
I'll just say credit to you, because obviously it's a bit of a cutthroat industry, football, especially for a young lad that's trying to work his way through the academy setups. And so you kept plugging away, and would you have thought when you were released by Sunderland not so long ago that you'd be getting a full-time contract at Gateshead?
It was definitely something I thought that I was miles away from, especially like obviously with COVID. COVID didn't help things, but it was something I've really worked hard at this season, trying to get be with the first team as much as I possibly could. So,
and of course, obviously that under-19s team has produced a few players, yourself, Ryan Bolton and Nelson Ogbury. It must be quite surreal that between the three of you that you are full-time footballers now.
Yeah, it's class, especially all three of us. Obviously, we were together last season. It's really good for us three to go into it together next season, help each other out and get each other through it. That's really good.
And also now, I mean, for quite a few years, the standout players that were coming for the last few players that came through the academy setup was John Mellish and Tom White.
Yeah.
Obviously, Elliot Forbes, who's still at the club. These players are held up as the what can be, and now you're that next what can be. That'll be in the next bunch of young players that'll come into the club. That must be a nice feeling to have as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really looking forward to see what I can do at the club. Hopefully, try and get as many games as I can under my belt this season, and really push to try and help the team. That's my main goal, I think.
Yeah, we've got a question here from Mr. Luke, and I think he's missed out one option here. Are you a Sunderland or a Newcastle fan? But I think, are you a Gateshead fan? That should be the real question.
I was a Newcastle fan from when I was from birth. Uncle wasn't happy when I went to Sunderland when I was 16. So, but yeah, I was definitely a Newcastle fan.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that we can't do anything about that. We feel sorry for you, but at least you're at Gateshead. Mark, have you got any questions?
Yeah, I mean, last season, obviously, Adam, you were in around the first team. What sort of advice were you given when you were in there? Could you go to certain people? How was Mike with you, with the younger players?
Yeah, they were all great. All the staff, Clarky, Patter, Mike, Bustard, all of them giving me advice, what to do. Even the players, all the players were great as well. The keepers, obviously Harrison, Monty and Guff, they were probably I was with them every day when I trained with them. They were probably the main three that really helped us last season.
Yeah. What would you say your targets are for this year? That's obviously a big year for your first year as a pro.
Well, really, to try and get as much game time as I can, try and impress in pre-season. I think first that's going to be my main goal. I think there's about five or six pre-season games, which hopefully I can get as many minutes as I can and impress in them 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well done on the deal.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
So 1 second. Mason Ford has put, which players at Sunderland did you play with who has went on to Lee Johnson's first team?
Dan Neal, a lad called Dan Neal. Jack Diamond. One of the goalkeepers called Anthony Patterson. He's with them, and I'm trying to think if there's a couple more. I'm sure there's a couple more. There'll be a couple more, but I can't think of them. But there was quite a few, to be fair.
Yeah, it seems to be honest, in the Northeast at the minute, there's quite a few teams letting the youngsters get their chance, isn't there? Right across the board. So it's good to see positives, but there's something else is gated.
Just on that one, Dave, do you think there's any other players in the academy we should keep an eye on?
In which academy? In
at Gateshead.
At Gateshead. There's a couple, yeah, in the year below. I think there's a couple. A lad called Lewis Leach. He was, I think he's a very good player. A lad called Charlie. Yeah, there's a couple to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I covered one of the Durham Cup games early on in the season. I think we were winning 3-0 at half time or 2-0, and we ended up getting beat. It was one of those games.
Is that the Jarrow game?
I think it might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in goal in that game.
Well done, Dave.
Yeah. It wasn't that one. It wasn't Jarrow. It was a team from Yorkshire way. But they went, obviously they were up a height when they won. But there was we'll win comfortably half time. We're not talking about the second half, the first half, but you could see there was some decent players in there. Of course, Nelson caught the eye with his speed and goals.
The youth cup.
Yeah, the youth cup. That was the one.
Yeah, the youth cup. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. There was another player there, the lad that was playing up front with Nelson. I can't remember his name. He caught the eye that day.
Eddie.
Was it White? Eddie White.
Might be. He's like 6 foot.
Something. Yeah, big lad.
Eddie,
he was another one that caught the eye. As I say, it's lovely that the academy is really starting to produce players that the club can seriously look at. And we've got it is Eddie Thomas, the Gates FC Academy of sent us. It was Eddie Thomas.
Yeah.
He caught the eye last year. I don't know if he's still with the academy side, but if he isn't, I'm sure he'd be snapped up by one of the local sides in the Northeast or maybe even further afield. But I say, Adam, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Cheers.
We look forward to seeing your footballing journey start with Gateshead, and I see. Hopefully, we can have you on again throughout the season, and maybe after a 5-sheet clean run, that's when we'll bring you in, and I'm sure that'll be after the first 5 games. So,
hopefully.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. There we go, Adam Cameron there. One of the lads that's going to be bidding for the number 1 jersey was Sam Guthrie, and hopefully we'll be able to get Sam on in the coming weeks. Hopefully we will have Macaulay Langstaff next week and Kedwin Scott, and hopefully a few more. So if you want to send any messages, you've got any messages for Mark about any of his recent articles, because he's had some corkers, do go to his social media. We have retweeted a lot of them. Do go to Gated FC's social media and the Gated Soul. We do that. They are doing a lot of fundraising things. They've got a I'm trying to think of the word now. Where you pick the name out of the hat for the
sweepstake.
Yeah, for the sweepstake. So I think there's still some left. Second sweepstake, they sold the first one out already. So they might have already sold the second one out, but who knows? They might do some more. But do follow their social media because they are doing fantastic things at the Gated Soul and at the club. And it's, as we were talked just before Adam Cameron come on, it's a season that Gated can really, I'm not going to say establish themselves because they're established in local football and national football, but it's a one where we can write our own future now under the current ownership.
They can, and a big part of that is we shouldn't forget the academy. You know, you've just listed 3 lads that have come through. You listed previously another 3 that have gone on to other things. Elliot Forbes has gone on to the first team, and then you've got Tom and John Mellish who've gone on to have Football League careers. Now, the academy has got the right people in charge. You know, the likes of Ben Clark and Matty Patterson have been there and done it at a high level. So those young lads coming through, they couldn't ask for better guidance. They really couldn't. And there'll be more coming off the production line. And there's a non-league club, and there's a non-league club. You need that because there will be times when these young lads will be needed. Gator aren't going to carry a massive squad this season. So there might well be a time when, yes, it might be on the bench, but they might have to be used at some point. It's a great platform for local youngsters. And some of the names that Adam mentioned there, you do hear little bits about. And I know one of my mates, funny enough, was talking about Louis, the lad who was talking about the midfielder. Someone he thinks could go on and have a good career. So there's a lot of good prospects in there, and they're being guided by two of the best you could get.
Yeah, well, even though so I've got a bit of feedback there. Hopefully Adam Campbell and the former Heaven striker that we signed, it's Kedwin Scott, can do well this season, get goals that we lacked last season. Also, congratulations to the ladies team on reaching the semi-finals of the Cup. Of course, sadly, they fell short in that, but there's nothing to be ashamed of in that. It's been one hell of a season. Just you mentioned there, we talked about former academy players there. There's a little bit of other business, a little bit of news. Obviously, we've seen Tom White. He's moved from Blackburn and following his release to Barrow with another former Gator player in Paul Farnham, which I was a little bit shocked at in that one, because obviously local rivals Barrow and Carlisle, and you would have put Carlisle as probably the bigger team.
We would. So historically, I guess, Barrow years ago were a football league club, but you look at they've signed a striker from Carlisle as well. It's quite unusual to see one player move between rivals. But just focusing on Tom, we mentioned the success of the Gateshead Academy, and you look at the way he came in and took his chance. Went out on loan, had some loan spells. It was at Scarborough, and went to Ashington in the Northern League, and then came back. And
Benfield, or was it? I think Mellish went to
Benfield. It was Ashington. It was John Mellish went to Benfield, and I look at how Tom came back and really grasped the opportunity given to him by, Steve Watson at the time came in, did very well under Steve, and then kept his place because he was just an essential part of that midfield. And you look at what he's gone on to do. I remember interviewing him after his England C cap that he got. That was a massive boost, and then earned his move to Blackburn. There was plenty of interest in him, understandably so, and I know there's plenty of interest in him when he was released by Blackburn. And it's a good move, Barrow. They look as if they're going to have a bit of a go this season.
He went to as well, didn't he? And
he did, yeah. And I think at the time it was a difficult one because the manager was trying to find his feet there and didn't really get as many opportunities as he would have liked. But now I look at Barrow, and as I say, it looks like the club ready to move up, and I'm sure he'll do well there. And Paul Foreman's a good sign as well, by the way, because when he was at Lincoln City, he was really one of the better keepers in League Two and in the National League, and I'm fairly certain he'll do well again. Good guy as well.
Yeah, it's nice to see players stay in the full-time game. We're probably not going to go the full hour tonight. I've got a very poorly little boy upstairs, so we're gonna. I'll probably wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. But if anyone's got any questions for Mark, if they'd like to send them in, and I'll give Mark just an opportunity to plug his social media for any of these articles that are out there at the moment.
Yeah, if anyone's keeping an eye on Twitter, it's Mark Carruthers _. I've got a Facebook journalist page as well. But I've got to be honest, I don't know how you find that. So just search for Mark Carruthers, it might come up. Fingers crossed.
Also, as well, before we go, if you do want to come along to Pelaw Social Club, it'll be a lovely event. There's a disco on as well. The lovely Mark Carruthers, the handsome Mark Carruthers, will be presenting the evening and talking to a number of people from the club. So it should be a fantastic opportunity. We're going to be taking our camera there with some interviews for the podcast. So if you would like to be on the podcast and have a little chat with us, there'll be a perfect opportunity. There's no pressure for anyone apart from Mark. So, we just say we just want to reach as many people. We've had good viewing figures tonight. Thank you very much to everyone that's come on. A massive thank you to Mark because he stepped in about an hour and 20 minutes notice to come in, and we hope that Mickey's daughter is doing very well. Big thank you to our sponsors again, Northern Print Solutions. Remember, do share the show so we can reach as many more people as we can that go to a Gateshead game and hopefully reach some new Gateshead fans as well. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? But hopefully we'll have more signings to talk about in the coming weeks. If not, there might be some transfer rumour mill, trialists, who knows? But we're not that far away from pre-season kicking off, and quite an exciting time to be as a Gateshead fan. So remember, do share the show. Thank you very much. And Mark, once again, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers. We'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, hang on. We've got one message that's coming in. Thanks, lads.
What a good way to end it.
It certainly was.